Time goes by so slowly. Time goes by so slowly. Time goes by so slowly.
Hello you guys, today I have the pleasure of sharing with you a birth chart that is very special to my heart. And we are doing Keanu Reeves. And I absolutely love Keanu Reeves. He's one of my favorite actors. Beside him and Johnny Depp, they're like my two favorite actors of all time. So I really felt like this was going to be fun to do Keanu's chart. So let's get into it. So we see the first thing is his sun is in Virgo. And his moon is in Cancer. So this tells us that he's very analytical, being that his sun is in Virgo. So he's very thinking, he's very analyzing everything. And his moon is in Cancer. So that's the feeling side of him. And his feeling side of him is self-assessing, being that it has that Virgo energy, but it's also feeling. So he's also a very emotional person, and he may be someone who is very loving and very intuitive, because that moon in Cancer is in its home planet, okay? So we see he's got a lot of Virgo in his chart, and some Cancer, okay? We see that Venus and that Mars in Cancer. And that Mars in Cancer is also very important because Mars is very active, okay? And Cancer is more sit back and let's be about love, man. So even though it's action-oriented, he's action-oriented in love. So that may be why Keanu Reeves comes off as someone who is a very loving person, and why people are so relatable to Keanu. And I feel like Keanu is like a starseed. I feel like he's one of us. He's a natural healer, and it may be because he has all this Cancer in his chart like I do. So it feels like he's a natural healer, and he's very intuitive, and he feels like he's definitely one of us as a starseed, okay? So he has his North Node in Gemini and his Chiron in Pisces. So let's get into a little bit about his North Node and his Chiron. Okay, so his North Node is in Gemini, like my little man right here. So North Node in Gemini in the natal chart is symbolic of a soul urge towards learning to see all sides of a situation and communicate a sense of curiosity into the unknown. So it's very Gemini energy like myself, so it's very curious, wanting to see all sides of a situation. And North Node, what they're learning is that they're not know-it-alls, because Gemini wants to be the know-it-all. He has to learn that he may not know all the answers to everything, so he's curious in nature, and that's that Gemini North Node energy. So let's get into his. Okay, so his Chiron is in Pisces, and you have to practice how it feels to be able to say no to people and places and things that drain your energy. And I feel like Keanu especially is learning that a lot in his older age, of, you know, when healing begins when you stop letting old patterns and unhealthy dynamics run your life. Overcoming the wounds Chiron and Pisces give him by establishing healthy boundaries and self-care strategies. So he's in a lot of ways learning how to love himself with that Chiron and Pisces energy. So a lot of with the Chiron and Pisces energy with his soul wound means that he definitely felt like the universe may have let him down a lot in his life, or that things may have happened and the universe he may lose his trust in feeling like the universe has his back in a lot of ways. So let's get into some other aspects of his birth chart. At the other aspects of his chart, we see that the earth element is very dominant among the inner planets. So he's definitely someone who's very grounded, and we know he has that Virgo sun. So he's definitely someone who's very grounded, very analytical in nature. We also see that he doesn't have any inner planets that fall in a fire sign. So he's not very quick to have a bad temper or anything like that. And being that he has a lot of Cancer and water in his chart, we know that he's definitely someone who's very feeling. So he's not very action oriented. He's more of an analyzing and feeling kind of person from what we see, okay? We also see that he has a mutable mode in his planet. So he's very flexible. He's not somebody who's very fixed in his ways. He's up for new ideas. He's up for new types of challenges and things like that. So he's definitely not stuck and stubborn in his ways, which is a very good thing and probably why we love him, okay? We also see that his chart is a bucket shape, which is also very important because that tells us that he may have had a life that was very conflicting. He may have had a lot of challenges in his life, and that directed him to be more passive in nature. It also tells us that he may be inclined to one single-minded kind of purpose, and he directs his mind in that kind of purpose at all times, okay? So let's look more into his chart. So we see here that he has a kite, okay? And a kite is very important and distinct in a chart because it's kind of rare, okay? So we know Keanu is a rare person, right? So it's in his moon, his Chiron, his Neptune, his Venus, his Mars, his ascendant, his Pluto, and his Uranus. Okay, so let's look into what a kite means. So what does a kite mean in your birth chart? Its trines are all about harmonious flow of creative energy. Grand trines bring positive opportunities, which he also has a grand trine in his chart. And a kite enhances those effects and brings a focus on reaching out and grabbing hold of opportunities to express creativity in a concrete way. So he's definitely learning to express himself creatively in his moon, which is in his Cancer, his Chiron in Pisces, his Neptune in Scorpio, and his Venus and his Mars in Cancer. So he definitely does have a lot of water sign energy, okay? And his ascendant in Virgo, his Pluto in Virgo, and his Uranus in Virgo. So it's a lot in that water sign aspects and that Virgo aspect. So again, we're seeing this common aspect in his chart where there's a lot of earth energy and analyzing things, and also a lot of intuitive energy and feeling and looking inwardly. And that's, I believe, a very accurate description of Keanu because he definitely resonates that kind of energy of a wise philosopher who has that kind of intuitive energy. So this is Keanu. Concludes Keanu's birth chart, and I thank you guys for joining me.